Hey Derek, I'm just going through your website right now and I'm going to do a tutorial walkthrough here because it's going to be a lot easier than writing it all down. The first thing was you were supposed to actually have a whole folder called website, and inside that folder were supposed to be these 3 pages and an images folder that your photos were in, and that whole thing was supposed to be zipped. Another thing is I warned you guys not to have spaces in your file names. So you should either have a hyphen or an underscore or run that all together, because it's going to put that weird code of 20%, percent sign, 20% sign every time it sees a space. So that's really problematic. So I downloaded these individual pages and I just want to start with your index page. And I think you were working off of the handout I gave you, but remember I said all of this is really overkill. There's just so much extra in here that we don't need. And I showed you a basic template and it looks like this. So specifically, all we need is doc type HTML at the top. So, and then your opening HTML tag and the closing tag. So I'm just going to go and show you, I'm going to literally copy and paste this into yours to clean yours up. So on your index page, and plus you have this weird bracket here, that's going to throw it off. I'm going to wipe out all of this. Whoops. Oh, for crying out loud. I don't know how I got way down there. And then, oh, what did I just do? Sorry. What I meant to wipe out was from here down to here and just delete that. And then paste in the very simple doc type HTML that tells it what it is. And then the opening HTML tag, language is English, is great, but it has to close, and you forgot the backslash here. Whoops, I must be on overwrite. There we go. So now when I click on this tag, the closing one lights up. Then your head, those are the things that the browser sees, and that's good. You have the opening and closing. I'm just going to bump this down a line so it doesn't get too confusing. Head is good. Title, perfect. This part is probably what our handout had, but again, I told you the much simpler version that we need is just this meta character set. So in yours, I'm just gonna, this is okay, but it's overkill, and I don't want you to get bogged down in overkill, and especially have one little typo in that that throws everything off. So now we have your head tags with the title, and it tells it that the character set is in this UTF-8, so that's perfect. After that is when we have to have the body. That's everything you see on the page, and you don't have it until down here. Your navigation is something that we see on the page. So you need to move this body tag. That's the very next thing that has to come after the head tag. So the body is next, and that's the second to the last thing to close out, and you have it there. That's correct. So inside of the body, this is all the things we see on our page. You have a div called navigation, that's perfect, and you closed it out. And your comment needs to have an exclamation point for it to work as a comment, and it's actually the end of the navigation div. This is just something that you see. Nobody, the computer doesn't read this comment, so you don't have to have it, but if you do, you have to code it correctly. So in your navigation, you have an unordered list that opens and closes. That's perfect. And then each list item or bullet point opens, closes, open, close, open, close. So that's perfect. Then you have an anchor that opens and closes. The word home is linked to index.html. That's great. Here, notice how this isn't lit up. Something's wrong here. I just pulled out that space. Now you have an anchor tag. The words about us linked to the about page. And here the word contact us links to the page called contact. So here's a problem because the page is actually called contact.html, but up here I see it named contact space us. So you need to rename this file just plain old contact.html for this to work. All right, that's your navigation. Then you go on to, I'm not sure why we have header. Oh, that's the top. That actually comes before your navigation. Okay, so your div called header has an H1 of Derek's Kicks. That's great. Your div called ID tagline has an H2 tagline, but then you didn't close that div. Okay, so the header is right here, and the tagline is right here. Now, typically, those things come at the top of your page before your navigation. So inside the body at the top of the page, I'm going to put a heading one that says Derek's Kicks. Back that up so it's a little bit easier to see. And then I'm going to have another div of the tagline that is a heading 2. Derek's Kicks, we know what's up. Good. So there's a div, there's a div, there's your navigation div. Then we come down here and we need to have a div that's called ID equals body content or something similar to that. And then you're going to need to close that div. So this is what changes page to page. The top, all of this is the same on every single page. Your head section that the search engines and computers see is the same. The opening, the body, the part that we see, you have a heading 1 and a tagline heading 2 in your navigation. That's exactly the same on every page. It's stuff that goes in this body content div that changes page by page. This is where it's different on the about, contact, and home page. Okay, then you have a paragraph that opens and closes, which is good. You have an image. The source is website pic JPEG. Again, there's a space here, and that's going to be really problematic. So I would encourage you to rename that picture with just one name or use underscores. And since you didn't include the folder of images or even have the images in here, I can't tell if this is right or not. You do have an alt tag, so that's great. And then you close out the image source. This backslash isn't actually even needed. I'm just going to clean up some of these spaces here. So I would encourage you to take out that space, and then what you really are supposed to do is have a folder called images and put this picture inside of it. And so much like, let me see if I can go to, I'll go to my bubble under if I can find it. This is what you should have a folder with the name of your website, and inside it you should have a subfolder called images, and then you should have your 3 main pages. You don't need to worry about style, these 2 yet, don't worry about that. But this is the stuff that should be zipped up for this project. So inside there, you have the name of your actual images, and notice I have no circles, no spaces. So it's going to be easier to name. All right, so back to your, let's see, I've got so many things open here. So again, if you make a folder called images, when you call up the source here, you have to tell it to go into that folder first and then pull up this picture. The width and height and alt look good. All right, then you have another paragraph that ends there. That's great. Proper English would have a period here. Oops. Then you have another paragraph that ends there. That's great. Then you have a heading 3. Good. With a paragraph. Okay, notice how this isn't lighting up. That tells me that you forgot to close it at the end of this paragraph. And indeed you did. \P. Okay. Now when I click on this P, it lights up. Same thing here. You didn't close this one out. If you ran this through the HTML validator, all of this would have shown up. And if you went through on your own and clicked on these and didn't see them light up purple, you would have known you had a problem also. Heading 3 is good. Paragraph, that's good. It lit up, which means you closed it. Oh, and then you also have an active hyperlink. You have an anchor that closes, and you have these words going to, nope, this is not right. Derek's Kicks at Gmail is not a www. It is mail to, whoops, this is how you get email to work. You write quotes, mail to colon, and then your actual Gmail, and you close it out. So that would get that to work. Okay, then we close our body content div, and then our whole body is done. That's everything we see on the page, and our whole HTML is done. So that is your index page cleaned up. Once that's good, like I said, I would copy and paste all of this into a new document, and the only things that you change on the About and the Contact page are the things in this div. Your header stays the same, your navigation stays the same, but your body content is the thing that changes. So if I go and look at your About page, again, you're going to clean up all of this. We'll get past all this. Right down here, About Us, a shoe retailer in Sheboygan. This looks a lot the same as your other page, so tweak this page a little bit more. Give more of a backstory on your business here. And then on the contact page, take out that us so it's just contact, and fix up this whole top. And when you get down here, again, this is where you need to have more contact information. Maybe come up with a fake physical address and things like that. Fix your email here again. So basically, you really need to fix it up and have it look more like this. I'm going to save this. And I noticed that it went from being red, this little icon was red, and now it's not. And I want to really remind you and everybody else to be using the validator here. So I want you guys to upload your files. So the one that I just attempted to fix, let's see how that went. Now I got to figure out which one is yours. Website. Oh, you didn't have it in a folder. So this index is yours, and this is the one I just saved over at 9 o'clock tonight, or almost 9. So that's the one that I want to check. Okay, bogus comment. End of navigation. I think it doesn't like when we have spaces or not double dashes in these comments, so that's not a problem. Matching quote is missing somewhere earlier. href, oh, I think we forgot the equal sign here, and that's the problem. Yep, there's a problem with the mail. So let's go back to the index page and come over here. Href equals mail to. Okay, the equal sign was missing also. Okay, that should clean it up other than a few of these issues that it doesn't like, which is really no big deal. Choose file, let's try that again. I'm hoping to show you the whole process here. Okay, yeah, it doesn't like the commenting here, which is the least of my worries, and it's not mappable due to that hyphen at the end of the comment. Again, no big deal. Everything else works. And perhaps more importantly, if we're in your index page and we go look at it in Chrome, all right, much better. So we have your first heading, your second one, then your navigation, which makes sense. This is your missing picture because you didn't include it. And this is a working hyperlink. So clean those up. You have to do that before you move on to this week's homework on CSS, or none of it will work. So let me know if you have issues. I do have a drop-in this Thursday, 10 a.m. If you go into the Blackboard shell, you'll see a link that you can follow to a live chat room where we can talk through issues. So I hope you're doing okay. Thanks.